Hi everyone, it's Nat here. Hope you're all doing well. So I'm on with my latest journal. Now this journal is based on a Tilda book. Now Tilda dolls, if you don't know, are these dolls here, and I don't like them very much. I call them headless chicken. So I've been calling this my headless chicken book. Now I got the Tilda book out of the recycle bin one day and I showed it on a video, and one of my lovely friends asked if I could make her a journal out of it. So that was a bit of a challenge, seeing as though I don't like them. And the book was glossy and it had brightish colours in. So I just went with it, found colours that I thought went with the book pictures and just went from there. So it's very different. It's not your usual vintage botanical journal. It is bright, so grab out your sunglasses if you need them and let's have a look through it. So it is a hardcover, so it's an old book cover. Some of the corners are a bit ruined in that, but I don't mind. I think it adds to the look of it really, and I loved the colour of the cover, so I left it like that. It has two signatures, and you might be able to see that the signatures are way down low in the cover. So the cover was too long for the papers that I wanted. Usually I would cut the cover down to fit better, but if I do that, then I either fabric cover the book cover or I put some fabric or some washi or something over the raw edges. Now what happened is I stuck this paper down the spine and then remembered that I wanted to cut the book cover down, and then I thought, oh well. I mean, it didn't matter. I still could have cut it down, but then I would have had to worry about fixing up the raw edges, and I just couldn't be bothered. So I thought I'd just play around with having a cover that's a bit longer, because it enabled me to have all these tabs and bits and pieces sticking up that won't get ruined when you're shoving it in and out of bookcase. So I decided to leave it. I don't see that it's a problem. So there is a dangle on the spine. This was one that was already made that I picked up in the secondhand store for about $2. And I have attached that through an eyelet, and I've just tied a bit of the same material that I've used in different places here. And that way it can be removed and other things can be added if necessary. Thought that was the best way to do it. I was going to thread the dangle through the eyelet, but that didn't work so well. It was a bit stiff and everything. So this seemed to work the best. So secondhand doily on the front. I've got a set of these doilies and I thought they worked nicely. That is a picture from the cover of the Tilda book, as is the name, because it was Tilda Summer Ideas or something. I didn't want to use the title of Tilda because it's copyright and I don't like reusing that sort of thing too much. But I loved the Summer Ideas and I just think the colours go with that really nicely. So I've just got a material closure that I've just tied into a loose double knot. And I've used the same material to make a ruffle. I love putting ruffles on the covers. And I've sewn around some of the bits and pieces in here. It's probably the most sewing I've ever done in a journal to date. I'm still a learner when it comes to sewing. Now on the back it's got this homegrown with love. I'll just undo it so I can show you better. Take that off. So it's got homegrown with love. Now, these were little circle bits that were in the book already. There were about 3 of them of different colours, and I just used one of my big circle punches to punch around it. So I used pretty well something of every page out of the book to do this. There were just a few bits of scraps, mainly text scraps and that were left over. Otherwise, I pretty well used everything, which was really cool. So, and there's a bit of calico just to back the picture that I sewed it onto. So in here, I have some stamps that I wanted to use. And one of them is This Book Belongs To stamp. So I stamped that onto, I think it's avocado dyed paper that someone had gifted me. And then just put that onto some cream cardstock and then onto a scrap offcut of the same napkin that I used here. This is a vintage napkin. I've cut the corner out. It's a really nice colour. and just stuck some of beautiful lace on there. Now, most of the laces that I've used in this book have come from Linda at Gems Papercraft. I've grabbed a lot of laces, which you've probably seen if you've been following me. A lot of laces this year, but I needed to stock up, and I'm so glad I did, because it really enabled me to use a lot of laces. Usually I get little bits and pieces, and there's not enough to do, you know, a whole lot in the one book. So I was really thankful for those. Now, the lovely Susanna Easdale, who is Vintage Blend Studios on YouTube, I asked if she'd be willing to make a few pieces to put into this, because we're friends with the lovely Andrea, who this will be going to. And she was so kind, and she sent me a whole lot of little beautiful pieces that went with it so well. So hers were more vintage style, and I was going to try and go along with that, but I don't know. Man, when it comes to these colourful pictures, I just had struggled to go vintage with those. I could have, but I just chose not to. There's nothing wrong with doing bright, newer looking journals. You know, it's still almost everything in here, bar from the laces, is secondhand, which I think is great. So this is a beautiful printout, I think, that Susanna sent along. Beautiful colours that match perfectly with the journal. And she's written a little note on here for Andrea. So I've just made this. I had a whole lot of these card cutouts, the stamped ones from the stamp die. It's a Kaiser Craft die, that one. And I've just put some of the off-cut of a book picture and the roses. There were a lot of these little roses in the Tilda book that I was able to use in lots of different ways. And then I used some of the Tim Holtz Small Talk stickers in a few places as well. So, and I've just written my little note to Andrea on that one as well. So they're just sitting there. So I've used the summer ideas again here with a beautiful picture and lots of laces and an offcut of the doily. These papers I picked up from the second-hand store. I've got a bit of stenciling throughout just to make some of the white pages not so white. I used the contents label that was at the top of one of the pages and a bit of washi. So I had some yellow acrylic dyed papers from a previous project. So I've used them in here because I thought they went nicely. This is a pocket. There were 2 or 3 pockets in, I think there were 3, but I could only cut out 2. Pockets that you could put together that were in the book, so I utilised those. So this is one I've just put a little bit of ribbon through the holes. This is a lovely tag from Susanna. She makes beautiful things. It's got beautiful little squirrels there, and it can be written on. So that's slipped in there perfectly. Little butterflies that I made in a challenge in Paper Possibilities Crazy Crafters group. I try when I'm doing the challenges to make things for upcoming projects. I find that helpful, and these actually worked really well into this journal. So, and just enough cut of some paper. So some of the book pages I left whole because they had beautiful pictures of the headless chicken dolls. People will hate me for saying that. Yeah, as that, I embellished a lot of these stamp die cuts. So book picture backed with some of my secondhand fabric. And then I had just found these envelopes in this secondhand shop. So, and I loved the roses and that. So I thought one of them could be slipped in there. Bit more stenciling, offcut of some lace. Now this was another challenge that we had in our group to make these fabric scrappies. So I made one with this journal in mind. So it has doilies, various laces, offcuts of fabrics. And then what I did with that one is you can flip it up and write on there. And then on the back I just decorated it. So it had some decoration on the other page where you see it. So what I do with that is just slip that down there and fold the fabric. So this can be like a fabric flip as well. And then you turn it over and you've got that decoration, which is some of the book. A little fabric scrappy that I made. That's out of the book as well. It says hearts, very pretty. Lovely rose stencil. This is one of Susanna's beautiful collaged cards that she made. I thought I'd make that one into a tuck spot and put one of her other beautiful cards in it. They go so nice together, and they go really nice on this pink page with the pink lace. So that just slips in there. Now this is it's like a file envelope, and I got a whole lot from the local recycle reuse centre that we have here at our local dump. I bought 1 or 2 packs, and then I used this one. I went out and there were another 3 packs there, so I bought them as well. These are so cool. The size is perfect for journals. They have this massive window in them, and they've got the, I think they're like file folders, so with the window in them. So this side I've left open, and I've slipped just this beautiful piece of paper that I got. So other things can be slipped in there too. And then I stuck this picture from the book into the window. And these labels came from the book as well. This is a bit of the cover of the book. I like the pattern so much I wanted to use it in here, and just a bit of lace. Now I've got some tabs throughout here too that were graciously gifted to me from Crafty Dork, Jeanette Dawkins. She has the whale tail punch, and a lot of us don't. So she sat there and must have punched hundreds of them out one day to send to us. So thank you so much, Jeanette. They've come in really handy. Another one of our challenges was to make faux stamps with napkins. And so that's one of my faux stamps with napkins. I thought the colour of that one went nice there. These are pages out of an old diary that I didn't end up using, and they had colours on the pages, which I thought went nicely with these pastels. This is a bit of the book that I've backed onto some paper, used as tuck spot, and I have these. I got this paper pad from secondhand store as well, so I've just cut a bit of that out to use as a journaling card that slips in. Beautiful laces. These were some book holders, file holders or whatever, magazine holders, that sort of thing. There were pictures of them two together on one of the pages in the book, so I cut them both out. They make really good little tuck spots, and just a little book page journaling card. It's one of the, what's it for? Something horses. It's not data, it looks like data. Dala horses from the book. Beautiful middle of the signature page. I like the horses there, so I've left them. Bit of lace. This was some pants that were in the book that I fussy cut out and put onto one of my stamp dies. Book picture. Butterfly. I have heaps of these. They came from Marketplace one day. A lady was getting rid of some items after a wedding. She had a whole lot of doilies, and she had these, so I grabbed those, and they're absolutely beautiful. So I've stuck it down and left this wing up so that it sticks up a bit and you can see the shadow underneath, which I like. This is the other side of the folder, so that's a great page to write on. And I stuck the top of this one together so it's more of a pocket like that. And inside I have some beautiful rose paper. I don't know if you'll be able to see the pattern there. If I turn it over, you'll be able to see the roses. Might put it back in that way since that's the way I get it out. Might have to do that afterwards because it might take me a while. It does go in there. Another one of my stamp die cuts with book picture on fabric. This is a little book, a little scrappy booklet that someone made ages ago and sent me in a happy mail. And I really like the colours on this, so I decided I would put it in here. So I just stick most of the pages into the pocket and then just a few hanging out like that. This is the envelope that the lovely Susanna sent her little bits and pieces for the journal in. So I decided to keep that and use it in here as well because it's a lovely colour. So on the front of that I stuck this window, and I made that with, there's a bit of board off of the cover of the Tilda book, and it had a whole lot of little pictures like this one in there, which I wanted to use separately. So I cut the pictures out and thought I'd reuse this as a frame. So I stuck some vellum onto the frame to make a little window. And I have this, it's just one of the book pages that I've turned into a journaling card and put a little fabric tab on. Now that covers my address because my address is on the front of the envelope, and I thought it'd be a nice touch to leave the addresses showing in the journal for Andrea. So, and that flips open, and I've just stuck some of my scrapbooking paper on there too. That can be written on. And then there's a bit of beautiful note paper in there to write on as well. If I can get it back in. It's always easy taking things out. I'm going to do that afterwards too, because I can't do that sort of stuff on camera. So I've just covered over Susanna's address here because I've left that there as well. That's the other side of the envelope, and it's got one of Susanna's beautiful collaged cards again. So thanks so much, Susanna, for doing those. They've really made this journal, and I love having a bit of you in here for Andrea. This is a little doily that I've inked up, put one of my Tim Holtz Small Talk sticker words sayings on. It says live in the moment. And a little rose which I just punched from the Tilda book. And that again is some of the cover pattern. It's beautiful lace. The orange goes nicely with the orange page. A fabric scrappy that I made with one of my stamped butterflies. It's another beautiful page from the book. It's all legs. legs, but it's pretty, so. This is another one of my stamped die cuts with just a bit of my ruffle and some lace and one of the pictures out of the book, and I've made that into a tab. Another bit of one of the doilies, another one of my little butterflies that I made, book page, a bit of fabric, and another one of the labels that came from the book, some stenciling. So this is a paper clip that I made, hidden paper clip, and these are fussy cut pictures from the book onto some lace and scrapbook paper, and then I've just stuck this envelope under there. And then on the other side, the paper clip has another one of the headless chickens with no hair, headless and hairless. Yeah, and that holds just this paper that I've made into a journaling card and stuck a bit of beautiful lace on, or ribbon, I should say. A lovely card that I've just stuck on, bit of extra space to write in there. This is an envelope I made for another one of our challenges. So it's got a bit of the book picture laces. That's a little stamp punch that I have that I used to punch one of the pictures out with. A bit of cheesecloth that I had inked behind, a little tiny punched flower and some bling. And that flips open like that. And on the inside, I've put a bigger one of my stamped die cuts that can be used as a journaling card. So it's all embossed. This is obviously the negatives of a die cut where I cut out for the butterflies, which I showed before. These butterflies came out of, it was packaging that I acrylic painted with some pastel or satin acrylics. And then I punched out the base of these butterflies. And so I had these bits left over and I really like the way they look. So I decided to put that onto some cream cardstock and just put a little calico tab up the top. And that fits behind there. Another one of the beautiful full pages. These are another challenge. I've used a lot of our challenges in this, trying to make stuff for it. So we had a challenge that was making a whole heap of these fabric scrappy embellishments that you just sew onto your fabric scraps. So one of them worked out nicely for a tab. A lace tab. This is pocket made with the pattern. You might be able to see when I take this out. In there is pattern. So the book had a few pattern pages which I've reused in here as well. So this is the first one I used and I folded it up so that I can make this pocket. So it has book page layered onto fabric, a bit of my fabric ruffle. I folded this beautiful, I always get these letter sets from secondhand stores because I absolutely love using them in pockets and tuck spots. Doesn't smell, that one. One of the other ones stunk. It was one of the perfumed ones. So that just fits in that pocket. Then on this side, I folded the pattern paper ups to create another little tuck spot there. And I've got one of my little journaling cards in there. If I can get it back in. Another one of my butterflies. It's just a little one of my punched stamps from the book. This is the back side of a CD envelope. I recently grabbed some secondhand and they had different coloured ones, which was really cool. So I've got a bit of lace on there and then another journaling card from the book. This is just a fussy cut of some journals or books from the Tilda book. This is the other side of the CD envelope. So I fussy cut one of the little flowers from the Tilda book. Put a bit of ruffle down the bottom. And then in here is the journaling card that we can see from the front. So I fussy cut the Tilda doll and then put one of Tim Holt's small talk sayings on there. It says, no beauty shines brighter than that of a good heart. And I reckon Andrea has a good heart. So I was wrapped to make this for her, although I procrastinated on it so much. I really went through a hard time trying to make journals for a while, so I'm hoping I'm over that now, and I had heaps of fun with this. I procrastinated about it so much, but once I got doing stuff, absolutely loved it. I'm always terrified of what I'm going to do, but it sort of happens organically when you get started, so it's just getting started. So this is some of my paper pad that I used to make a tuck spot. Beautiful lace from Linda. One of my book page pictures layered onto some fabric and just some paper there to write on. So that's the middle of the second signature. Beautiful pictures. This is an envelope that I have made from the pattern pages again. And I covered it in the scrapbooking paper and sewed around it. And there's a card made from the book that I've sewed on as well. And one of the labels layered onto some calico. And then on the back I have just a bit of the book that I cut out layered onto some cheesecloth. So you can see in there, I wanted to leave this blank so you could see that it was the pattern page. So from that to that, it's a good transition. Absolutely love the way this turned out. And then in here, I think this is the smelly paper. Yeah, oh, that is strong. So this is perfumed paper that I've got. Beautiful, nice pastel pattern in there. So I thought I would add that. Fits in there nicely. So I just hang that over the edge of the page like that. And the paper clip that I'm using to hang it on has this little charm saying, I love sewing. And I know Andrea does do a bit of sewing, so I thought she might appreciate that. So I'll just put that back on carefully, if I can. A bit clumsy today. A big day yesterday, because my daughter's just moved back in, so I had to go downtown and we went twice to pick up stuff. So I think I'm recovering today, so home day for me. Get on there, paper clip. There. Just make sure I haven't caught it. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, going underneath. That's better. So this is the other side of the pocket that I made with the pattern page, and it's the same as the other one. I've tucked it up, so I've actually tucked this up and cut one side down here because it was doubled. When I folded the page together and folded this up, it meant that the two page pieces were folded up, so I've cut one down to create two pockets, whereas on the other one I just had the one tuck spot down here. So made a little journaling card with an index card and a picture, and then another one out of the book. I love that picture and the colours on it, went nice with the lace, and that slips in the pocket behind. And then in here I have some more writing paper, and on the back another picture. This is a tab that I made with a bit from the cover of the book. It's another one of those magazine holders that I used for a tuck spot. And one of my stamps with a picture, or die cut stamp shapes, I should say. Now, can I get it back in there? Another tuck spot with one of the stamps, and I've just used an index card, green one, which I have put some lace on. This is a belly band made with a picture from the book that I just cut out and sewed onto some fabric, and I backed the fabric with some paper to make it a bit firmer. And then I made this with some pictures that are in the book. I just folded them together. Sewed around it with some backing and did a little cute stamp on there. And it just slips in there like that. Another one of my butterflies. It's a pocket made from some, is it Anglaise material that I had? Sort of orange tones that went with that page. One of the book pictures. Another journaling card. This I made in a separate video on what I make with my secondhand store tags. I have a number of videos where I was experimenting, making different tags with my secondhand store tags. So this one I gessoed on and added a bit of the book cover as a picture and a bit of offcuts of lace. And in there I've tucked this little one that I made. That's another beautiful picture from the book. So cut that out and just backed it onto some cream cardstock. I've got a vintage ticket and a ticket that I made with a stamp and my vintage number stamp that I have. It's good to get some use out of it, and I like doing that. I'm going to make a whole heap more. I think this is one of the Tim Holtz, is it ticket booth? Something like that. Dies. So I might cut a whole lot out on tea dyed and use that stamp a bit more on those, I think. So just shove those in there. Now I know the lovely Carol asked how I was going to use these sort of tags in my journal. So if she watches this, this is one way that I would use them as tuck spots. Or of course you just tuck them into little pockets or whatever. Some stenciling. Beautiful big picture at the back, and I left that open and tucked in some of this avocado, I think, dyed paper that someone gave me. Already had a fold in it, so I just left the fold in it, and it fits in there nicely for some extra writing spot. It's one of the labels, just backed onto one of my fabric scrappies that I made. Left some of the bits dangling down there. This is a bag that someone sent some happy mail in, I'm pretty sure, and I really liked the colours of it on the back cover here. So I put that in. Now I'm pretty sure I left it so you can tuck behind it as well. And you can tuck in there. And now this is a beautiful collage card that Susanna made as well. Absolutely gorgeous. So I wanted to finish the journal off with that one. So I've got one of Susanna's pieces at the start and one in the back, which I think is really cool. And it will just give Andrea such a thrill, I think. So I'll just put that in there. Then this was a page in the book. It was the last page that I had. I'd already cut a bit out of it, and I didn't want to throw it in the bin with this colour on there. So I thought I'll just whip up a quick journaling card, put a bit of my scrap leftover ruffle piece on there, and that could go in the back here. And that's the other seed pocket that came from the book, and I just stuck a bit of lace on there. There's nothing in there. Andrea can do what she likes with that. Play around with it. I might stick a few bits in here, I'm not sure, for her to use, but otherwise that is my Tilda journal, guys. So I hope you liked it. I know it's really different from what people are used to seeing, but I seem to just go with the flow and come out with weird stuff. So I did show a couple of friends like 1 or 2 pages, and they said that's very pink. So I'm not sure if people will like it, but hey, I don't like pink, but I absolutely love this. I had so much fun. I think it looks really awesome. And to be able to reuse a book that was going to the bin to make something so beautiful means a lot to me. So I'm really thankful that I was able to do that. And thank you, Andrea, for asking me to make this, because you know, it wouldn't be something that I would think of making. I did say maybe I'd make a journal out of it sometime, so that was my fault. So I got challenged to do it, and I'm really glad I did it. Love it. So I'll have to pack this up, put it in the post, and send it off. Now, I did make a whole lot of videos, process videos on how I made this, right up to me sewing the signatures in. And then after that, I went off and finished embellishing a lot of it. So that's the finished product. So take care, guys. Be good, and I will see you again soon. Bye.